you'll never get to a point where, oh yeah, we got it figured out. Google, Apple, all these companies are now in trouble because of AI. These returns aren't going to be guaranteed. These companies are falling. It's about to hit the fan.
Marcus Barney, aka him 500, marketing expert, events expert, credit expert. This dude is all about branding.
You get a real estate check, $12,000, $14,000. Oh man, wait a minute. I'm retiring by 30. I'm 18. Nope. Market crash.
I have to always be balancing between entertainer and business leader. Those who can master both win.
You can master one thing. If you master plumbing, I still need to make money on YouTube. I still should have an in-person event around plumbing. It's so many different things and business models that apply, but you don't.
So for these people that, they're not at 10 grand a month yet, they're trying to figure their life out. They're like, dude, I get what you're saying. I don't even know where the first thing to start is. What do they do? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Wealthy Way Podcast. Today, I've got a guy who's a marketing expert, events expert, credit expert. This dude is all about branding. I love what he's doing. I've got none other than Marcus Barney, aka him 500. What's up, man?
What's up, boss? I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, bro. So I got to first ask you, what is him 500? Where did that come from?
Him 500, the $1 million question.
That's your IG handle for those who don't know.
Yeah. I would. It started off as him, as in I'm him, and then the 500 was like for Fortune 500.
Oh.
So it was one of the things where playing on social media. I didn't have a brand. It started on like MySpace, like using the word 500 for like Fortune 500. And it just grew. And
you've been using
Twitter,
that since MySpace?
Since MySpace.
Oh, man.
It literally went to Twitter. Twitter then transpired over to Instagram. And then I started building a personal brand and I always kept it. And I'm like, as it developed, it's one of the things that stuck. It's like him, I'm him. And then the 500 was, for like Fortune 500. Like,
so you've been doing that way before like all these Gen Z kids were like, I'm him. I've seen them doing that now.
Yeah. Nah, it's trending. Like the word him is like super trending. And it's like, it's dope because now people make songs and it just give me a lot of like things to use. Trending audio sounds, stuff like that.
Yeah, that song's about me.
Yeah. If not, it is now. And now I'm sound clipping it and using it in Reels. So
that's funny.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know what you've got going on, you want to tell a little bit about what business looks like today?
Today, man, so I run a university. I got EYL University, powered by recession-proof, over 20,000 members there. I built a brand called recession-proof, teaching people how to like leverage credit, turn it into cash, and start multiple different streams of income. From there, I ended up going into different businesses. I bought a jet a few years back. Ended up in the jet brokerage business and brokering jets and doing different kind of luxury travel. Created that business, been working on that. But then also 5 years ago, I started doing live events with my conventions. So every year, we do different live events for my community, exclusive to my community, private events. And it's just been growing and scaling and really just building online to where now, different partnerships and, different businesses that kind of have spiraled from everything.
Yeah. Didn't you recently have an event in Vegas?
Yes. We had that was the convention last year with Magic Johnson, Drink Champs, Mike Tyson.
Yeah. I remember because, I travel a lot, not private. I need to step my game up and get on jet brokerage. But I remember going through the airport and seeing you guys as giant signs at the airport. And I was like, dang, dude, he ain't just on Facebook ads. He's doing this like traditional marketing too.
Yeah. Now we took over that airport because one of the things I tell people, a lot of times people do live events and I see them lose money. Yeah. And it'd be like, dude, you're not profitable. Like, why are you doing it? Like, or they watch other people do events and they just want to do it. Like, oh man, it looks dope, and put a whole bunch of people on a flyer. And it's just like, yo, if it doesn't make money, don't do it.
Yeah.
Like it has to make money.
Yeah.
And so they like, yo, I came and I was doing Vegas. I said, I'm doing Vegas. Looked at the dates. I'm like, okay, we're going to do, it was Memorial Day weekend. They said, it's going to cost more money. I said, yeah, but where do people go Memorial Day weekend? Understand historically, any event, any place that we go is so many of us and my branding is so strong with my t-shirts and my community, we take over that city. I said, so I said, it was like, my event planner was on me. She was like, yo, it's going to cost us more money. They want to charge us almost 25, 30, 40% more.
Yeah.
Because of Memorial Day. I said, okay, so spend 60, 70% more on marketing and advertisement around that city. So we like, how? I don't know what came over me. I said, take over the whole airport. I looked, I said, where do people go Memorial Day weekend? Vegas is one of the #1 most traveled places. X amount, like 18, 20 million people are going to come through Vegas this weekend. Plaster the airport, drop the budget there, plaster the airport, plaster the hotel.
How much do you think you spent on marketing over there?
That weekend I spent on that whole event, I spent almost like 2.3, 2.4 million.
Wow. Just on marketing.
No, that's on the whole event.
On the entire event.
Together, yeah. It cost me about 2.3, 2.4 million. In marketing, with the airport and everything that I did, it probably was about 600K.
600K in marketing.
Yeah. And so, but what I looked at is that,
because you got to pay Magic Johnson, all these guys.
Yeah, those like the talent budget and bringing everybody in. So, but my goal was that if X amount of million people are going to come, I need them to see me.
Yeah.
They need to see my marketing, see my branding. We did probably about 70K at the door for people who wasn't members that seen, because you can't come unless you're a member.
Yeah.
They seen the marketing and you had to join. People were joining for $2,500 to come to my convention.
Yeah, they had to join first, then they can get a ticket.
We did 70K at the door.
Yeah.
Imagine what we did online. Like over that weekend, like I tell people, like that event generated me over $5 million. We did like $6.2 million off that event.
Wow.
And that's, people don't know. They're like, why would you spend this much money, or why is it this? It's free. How you make money off a free event? And I explained like the business models that
the event was free too.
It's free for my members.
Yeah, you just had to be a member. Okay.
But it's $2,500 to be a member and be in my community.
Yeah. How many people showed up at the event?
It was about 5,000.
Man, that's big. Where was it at?
The Mirage.
Oh, that's funny. Our event's at the Mirage too.
For real?
Yeah. Our event's at the Mirage next month.
Dude, took over, like we had the elevators. Only thing I was pissed they wouldn't give me the room keys that week. Like I wanted all the room keys to have my logo and branding on it. But from there, like just speaking on live events, is that even when people do events, I learned and I start hacking the game, because, we'll do event and you sit on stage, and I don't have a podcast. I don't have a strong YouTube following. So if I do an interview with somebody, it dies there.
Yeah.
Only people get the value, the people that's in the audience. They get clips on social media. In 30 days, it's done. I'm moving on to next content. If it makes it 30 days, realistically, that event makes it a week on my page. And then we got other shit that we got to post and keep moving.
Keeps going down the feed.
Bro, I started getting guests. So if I pay a guest, you pay 6 figures for a guest to come.
Yep.
I started getting podcasts to come for free to interview them.
Yeah.
But the podcast, like I did $1 million worth of game and Floyd Mayweather, that podcast is the #1 podcast in music, hip hop. This is the biggest podcast. Well, Floyd will be one of the top 5, top 10 episodes. I know it. Will you guys come and do it for free? If I get him, yeah, we'll come. We rock with you. Show me love. They came, did the podcast for free.
The podcast with Floyd?
With Floyd.
Got it.
So now they're guests on my flyer.
Yeah.
More ticket sales, more people coming to see, help with promotion, marketing. So that increased ticket sales, increased value of the event. But now my event goes on their YouTube. Mm-hmm. They put me in the middle of it as like a kind of like an ad where I got 10, 15 minutes to talk, promote what's going on, and have a conversation in the middle of one of the biggest episodes.
Right.
Episode goes to get 3, almost 4 million views. Mm-hmm. I'm in the middle of it off my event. So now my event is continuously making money. Like still till today, I get text messages from that campaign that I set up in that ad.
Yeah.
It was 2 years ago.
Wow.
I can pull my phone out today and somebody has texted me MWG. And these is different ways that it grows, like helping my event grow.
Yeah. One thing I love about what you're doing is you really are all about brand. You've got this recession-proof brand. Everything is blue. You even got a mascot. You got, all this stuff happening. And, I've been a big proponent of that for a long time. I've always told people like, hey, you're always playing like the short term and the long term. The short term is, how most people think. They're like, oh man, does this ad make money today or not? Because if it doesn't, we're not in business, right? And then there's the long term of it where it's like, yo, starting a podcast is really hard. Paying a mega celebrity 6 figures is really hard. And we don't know if we're going to get a return, but we do know that if we can get, alignment with them and we get on the right podcast, we get on, all of these things and we just constantly put out content, like we're going to build brand value over the years, and that you can't even measure it.
Yep. You can't. And that's the thing I tell people is like, you got to almost like, in this day and age, marketing and advertisement is almost like looking at hacking other people's audiences in the most valuable, respectful way.
Yeah.
Where everybody wins and everybody benefits, because a lot of times we'll look for our own benefit.
Yeah.
It's not, you don't look to benefit others. So when I added the guest, it wasn't just for my benefit. It's like, well, this I'll get a guest worthy of your podcast, top tier.
Yeah.
I want one of the top episodes to where I really add, it's worth you coming.
Yeah. 100%.
It's worth you traveling, filming this, setting it up. Like we had Drink Champs. But what I realized, bro, is that I'm always learning and watching. So this Floyd Mayweather thing goes off. It's literally Floyd Mayweather clips everywhere. 2 million views on this reel, 7 million views on the reel. And I'm sitting there going, this is for my episode, but the microphone didn't say recession-proof. None of my branding was on those clips.
Yeah.
And I said,
hey, don't worry. We got it on this one. We got the microphone logo.
See? Yeah, see? That, bro, I'm like, they like, yo, them clips is everywhere. And
yeah, if you had your thing on that would have been just 20 million, 30 million views, like free.
So I did Mike Tyson. I worked it into the deal. You are what you can negotiate. Cool. Mike, you coming to do Drink Champs? I know this episode's going to go crazy. You got to wear my recession-proof shirt. You can't crop it out when he says something because he's super viral.
Yeah.
Certain people are viral speakers. When they say certain things, it's going to clip. It's going to go everywhere. It's like Rick Ross. Certain people, it's like they say anything, it's going. Yeah. Put my shirt on. He wore the shirt. Now all those clips, 2 million, my brand is there. Yep. And you can't make it up. But then guess what else? I'm also on the episode promoing. Yeah. Giving out my text number. I'm not here to say nothing, but I just want to give some kind of lead magnet in this episode that I created. Yeah. To get credit for it. But these are just ways that I monetize to where it continuously grows once the event is over.
Well, I think the big key is you're creating win-wins for everybody, right? You're taking this podcast and you're saying, hey, I've got a great guest for you that I'm already paying to do this thing. Let me add value to you. And by you coming, you're going to add value to me. Mike, just wear this shirt. You're going to wear a shirt anyway. I'm going to pay you more money for wearing the shirt. Yep. Right? Like, let's all win together. And that's how I've always looked at this podcast. I've had so many just like big names on it. I've been able to get, Patrick Bet-David, Cardone, Serhant, and just basically every entrepreneur that you've ever heard of, Hormozy. And it's not because all of a sudden, like, they just want to do me a favor. It's because they see value in coming on the show. They're like, hey, you know what? This guy's put in a lot of time, effort, money to build a show. He's invested in a set, and I think that it's valuable if I come on the show because, they'll be able to deliver their message. It'll get heard and it'll be good for whatever it is they do. Right. Mm-hmm. And I just know the more that I can create win-wins for everybody, it makes it simple. When I invite a guy like you or whoever else, you're like, oh yeah, let's roll. Yeah. Because I'm trying to make it valuable for the guest, not for myself, but for the guest.
Because everybody wins. I remember when Dan Fleshman, we were talking and he was like, bro, I asked him how many podcasts he do. He said, all of them. I'm like, huh? He said, everybody's. He said, I even do them when they start. Casey Adams, it was one he spoke on. He said, I was his first guest. He was like, I was literally like the first guest. He ended up landing, Larry King later down the road, but he was like, I was the first guest. and I was willing to go on because sometimes you don't know where it grows to.
Yeah.
So you imagine like your first guest.
Oh yeah.
And now that first guest is like catching steamroll because they didn't know that, hey, I'm part of something that's going to keep growing.
Right.
And as you put the effort in, as long as you're willing to put the effort in, because a lot of people want to create podcasts and they want to do it, but it's like, are you going to create the momentum to keep it going that where it's beneficial for everybody? The person who believed in you in that first episode and the people who are willing to come once they see that you're continuously working and the content that you're putting out and the value that it adds to the audience and how it can be received. So it's one of the dope things I would tell people that's considering starting a podcast that watch and they want to have conversations and sit there, but they don't, or they scared, oh, nobody's going to want to do it. Mm-hmm. People will do it.
You just got to ask.
Yeah. And then keep going.
Yeah.
Like if they see it enough, it'd be like, okay, I keep seeing this name.
Yeah.
And then it just grows. And
yeah. I think it's funny because right before this, I was writing out a list of basically every guest I want to have on the show that has not been on yet.
Yeah.
So I wrote down this massive list of guests. And, now, to this point, what's got me here is like, I've already had a relationship with everyone who's been on the show for the most part, right? And then there were some cold texts to certain people or DMs and it ended up panning out. But for the most part, I was either a connection away or I knew them directly. Now I'm like, hey, let's go to the next phase and really like, quote unquote, go after the A-listers. Let's go after the, in the entrepreneur space. Let's go try and get Mark Cuban now. Let's go try and get these Marcus Lemonis, these TV guys. All right. Athletes. I've always been good with getting athletes. Let's go get more athletes. Let's go get Hollywood, and it's like, all right, now the show's at the point where we can start reaching out to those people and not just like get ignored.
Yeah. Where they're catching on and seeing the momentum in the track record.
Yeah. So that's kind of like where we're at now, but it takes time. I've been doing this now for 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
2.5 years. I started the podcast in 2021 and, it's just continue. Like we just keep trying to get better.
Yeah. Yeah. How many episodes in are you?
That's a good question. I would say at least, we've been doing at least 2 a week. So, it's gotta be like over 150 now. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I got to create. I'm starting to go heavier now, building out YouTube content.
YouTube's where it's at. It's not like IG where it goes away.
Yeah.
It's there forever.
Yeah. That's what I'm realizing. And I kind of missed the ball. It's never too late to get started, but I'm just figuring I had to find a way that I wanted to do it. So I did I got segments where I do like Bust Down versus Poindexter, and it's going to be like my two different personalities. And so even when I go and do interviews, it's going to be like two different people get to go. So they get to see, wait, this is one side, but then you got the professional side. And then you got the side that wears t-shirts, is chained and everything like that. And so it's just a dope kind of segment that I'm playing with off my brand because, it's always two sides to business.
Yeah.
You got the fun side where it's like the flash that like everybody sees. They'll come in, they'll see the studio and be like, man, you got a dope studio. I love it. This, that, and the third. Yeah, that's cool. This is how I come in. I can have fun. I can laugh. But there's a workspace out here.
Yeah.
And it's even more upstairs. And now it's a different side, and that is two different components. It's two different hats you have to wear.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people don't see like when the hats flip.
Yeah. No, for sure. I have to always be balancing between entertainer and, just business leader.
Yep.
And, it's funny. I tell people this all the time. Like those who can master both win, because it used to be back in the day that there would be the business people and they would want to be low key. They don't want social media. They don't want people knowing what they're doing. Like they just want to run their business, keep their head down and stay low key. Mm-hmm. And that definitely worked. I would say like, before social media, like that was a good thing to do. But today, social media obviously helps your business. Like if you're not out there, your competitor is, and they're taking your business. Yeah. Right. But then there's all these people who are really good entertainers. They're great at content. They're great at getting attention, but they have no idea how to run a business. And, they've got this thing that they don't really know what to do with. And then those who figure out how to do both end up just crushing.
Yep.
The Patricks, the Hormozis, all these guys who have just mastered both.
That's the biggest part that I think a lot of people don't people don't catch that, oh man, I don't want to get on social media. Like, you have a personality, it don't matter whether it's dry, boring.
Dude, there's a lot of boring people who get views.
Yeah. You don't realize that you don't have to be somebody else. You don't have to come out and be Harmozy. You don't have to come out and be Ryan. You can be yourself.
Yeah.
Like, be who you are and just communicate it to the world, because there's other people out there who relate to you. It's too many people there.
Yeah, dude. I tell people this all the time. Like, you're not here to go and be something you're not. You're not here to go please everybody. You know, like, the best, most influential people stand for something. You know, you go look at Andrew Tate, you know exactly what the guy stands for.
Yep.
You know, you look at Gary Vee, this guy's going to cram down your throat to get on social media and market better. You look at Patrick's like going in the lane of politics, and you know, he's trying to really like poke Biden and all these guys. You look at Cardone, this dude is just all about sales and real estate, and he wants nothing else to do with anything. And
he gonna market.
And he gonna market like crazy. And even for me, you know, I've been really going down the faith-based side of things with my content. And, you know, there's just not a lot of like really outspoken Christian entrepreneurs. And it's not that like I'm trying to be that, because it's just not, nobody's doing it. It's just, that's who I am.
Yeah.
And you know, the fact that nobody else is really doing it at like a higher level, it is what it is. Like, that's an opportunity for me. And there's going to be people who don't like it. Then there's going to be people who like really resonate with it
and love it.
Yeah.
Bro, that's the thing with me with like lifestyle marketing. People go, oh man, you know, you see people online and you would think like lifestyle marketing is bad. I tell people, listen, I market lifestyle I live. It's really been who I've been my whole life.
Hey, if you're looking to grow your real estate investing business, whether you're just getting started trying to get your first deal or you're trying to scale and get to the next level, you need to join us at Wealthy Investor. We've got events every single quarter that are absolutely crazy. We've got online coaching programs where we have Zoom calls, a community every single week. We give you everything you need to know to start your business, scripts, processes, SOPs, all of it. It's for you so that you can dominate. So if you want to learn more about how to join our community and be mentored by me and some of our top coaches and be around other students who are absolutely crushing it, go to wealthyinvestor.com, apply for a free call with my team. Once again, wealthyinvestor.com, apply for a call today.
14, my mom bought me my first chain. It was $1,600.
Wow.
And it was a gold chain, had a nice piece on it. Like, it's always been what I've been into.
Yeah.
So she's like, what do you want for your birthday? I want this. And so I remember we went to the pawn shop, literally put it on layaway. It paid it off. I picked what I wanted, paid it off. Finally, I saved money, made money. She helped me, but I got what I wanted. But it's always been things that I like.
Yeah.
18 years old, I had an Escalade.
Wow.
2006, I had a 2006 Dodge Charger. I've always been in the cars. Neo laughed and he was like, bro, you the only one that we can't find a struggle picture of. Like, when was your hard times? And I'm like, I had hard times. I just wasn't taking pictures. But I always, like, one of the rough times in my life, I was down 6 months, put my head down and went and bought a Range Rover. Right. And it'd be like, this has just been things that I always had a nice car. So when I would take a picture, I would have nice things, even if it wasn't the best time in my life.
Right.
But I always had things of who I was. I always liked cars. I always, would have a watch on. I would always have a chain on. And these are things that I look at and I tell people is that I've always been me.
Yeah.
So be yourself, because people are going to resonate with you for who you are. And it's an audience for it.
Yeah.
And they go, man. And I'd be like, don't be afraid to show it. My best performing ad, I put probably 10, 12 when I did the Louis Vuitton shopping spree. I did a Louis Vuitton shopping spree.
Yeah.
And that ad performed the best. I put all the boxes in my McLaren and stacked a whole bunch of Louis Vuitton boxes around my car. That ad was the best performing ad and still resonates with people where they like, oh yeah, I remember seeing it.
Yep. McLaren, Louis Vuitton boxes, everything about it just
and they like,
pops
oh
out.
my God. And then
you're going to get a bunch of people who hate, and that's okay.
Bro, they were cooking me in those comments. I'm like, yo, and my team, I'm looking like, yo, y'all got to monitor the comments. They're like, no, we don't. We not touching it. Let them go, because whatever is happening, what we generating here, leave it alone.
Yeah, it's engagement.
And then some people don't realize that is that the message that you deliver is what's important. Yeah. Once you get their attention, if you say something of value, if you got any kind of substance to you, that's where the conversions happen. That's where, it actually turns into your favor.
Yeah. So let's talk about this lifestyle marketing, because it's interesting, right? Like, I remember I made money, before social media. I was flipping houses, and that's how I became a millionaire and, all this stuff. And then I remember during my come up, I was always super frugal. I didn't care about cars. I didn't care about watches. I didn't have the flashy hair, any of the stuff I got now. Right. Yeah. And I honestly kind of like hated on the people who did do the flashy stuff. I'm like, what's this fool doing buying a $50,000 watch, dude? So stupid. What's this fool doing buying a Lambo? He can't afford that. He could have bought a house, right? In my mind as real estate, I'm like, why would you buy a Lambo when you could have just used that money and bought a house, right?
Yeah.
And so I was a hater. And eventually, I end up getting on social media, and I'm still frugal. If like you watch my early videos, there was none of that stuff. And then eventually I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna buy myself a nice car. So I bought a Tesla Model X for the first time, like a car over $40,000, Then I ended up buying a Porsche Taycan, then I bought an Escalade. Mm-hmm. And, then maybe like a year and a half later, I bought a watch, my first luxury watch, right?
Yeah.
AP. And I watched the fruit that came from buying those things on the marketing side. I watched, when I bought the Taycan, how many views, how many people engaged with it, then the watch videos. I mean, I've gotten tens of millions of views from watch videos.
Yeah.
Now it's really hard to quantify how much those videos have made me, but I'd pretty much guarantee it that with 20 million views, I made more than the $50,000 the watch cost.
Yep.
Oh, and by the way, I could still just sell the watch and get the 50K back. It's kind of like I'm leasing the watch.
Yeah. Yeah. What happens is that it's things that happen that people don't kind of catch on to with watches. There's people who live and die by watches. Nice watches. It's like cats. Like if you go on YouTube and you look up watch videos and things like that, millions of views.
Yeah.
You go look up car videos. There's car enthusiasts, millions of views. There's audiences that are super dedicated and loyal to these things that boost the engagement. And so you may think like, you'll say, yo, millions of views on my watch videos. Those are some people that's just coming to watch that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What happens is that then they end up getting indoctrinated into Ryan.
Yeah.
But they were caught on like, oh man, I love the car.
Yep.
It wasn't the people who, some people will identify, oh man, you're trying to use it just to make sales. But they don't realize that they're not into cars, but people are into cars. Like when you do, I seen your videos. I used to see the videos first. It was the real estate and you caught me with the hair.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would see it and I'll go, okay, I've seen this guy once. And I go, wait a minute, see him again. Okay, the hair keeps changing colors, but he's always saying something that's valuable. And it's like, it's always, and I'm like, okay, this dude's dope. And I remember watching, we were in War Room and one of my mentees did a remix video to one of your videos about storage units.
Okay. And
I'm looking on social and he did the remix and I look up and you on the stage talking. So I go to your page and I go, oh, I see, oh wait, this guy that, okay, got it. Start following. And then I seen like the Tesla video and how you broke down the difference between that and the Porsche. I was considering getting a Tesla.
Yeah.
And I'm looking going, do I want a Tesla? But I love the way those Porsches look.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, the Porsche's fire. But I watch those videos resonated because it was real life for me. It wasn't about
you're a car
education.
Guy. Yeah.
It was just strictly, and I don't have a Porsche or a Tesla.
Yeah.
But I seen somebody give an honest feedback about a car and was telling their experience, and I'm going, this is dope. Bro, those videos, I probably memorize and understand and can repeat the video rewatching it more than any other content you put out.
Right.
And people will go, is that lifestyle marketing? No, it's real life. These are things that people really want. These are things that really want to do, that applies, whether it's business, whether it's advice and inspiration and what I can do to make money. It's when I make money, or people who are making money, they want real experiences. And sometimes they want to see people achieve things. And okay, I can go and get a McLaren. Okay, I can go and get, I can go, when I taught people how to get Louis Vuitton for free, I can go and do these things. This is possible. And I don't got to go broke doing it. They're actually showing me that I can live the life that I want.
Yeah.
And this is how.
Two important things you mentioned. One was, you talked about the hair changing colors and stuff. And I was just actually with Cardone again last week, and we were filming. He basically said the exact same story you just said. He said, hey, like I saw you pop up, and then I saw you had like some weird hair colors, and then it just kept changing. But the thing I noticed was like you were consistent, you kept putting out good content, and that's what caught my attention, and why we're doing stuff together now. And with the hair colors and stuff, I honestly, like, I knew it would probably be good marketing, but I did it because, like, honestly, like, I just wanted to do it. I'm like, dude, this would be dope to do. Like, I've wanted to do this. People talk about my hair all the time anyway. Yeah. Let's really give them something to talk about. And I think that's the important key with lifestyle marketing is don't do anything just to do it. And for the money, like you think it's going to be a good marketing ploy, do it because like you actually want to do those things. Like you want a nice car, tight, get the nice car. You're going to enjoy it just on the personal side. But if you can maximize it, let's roll.
Get the car you like.
Yeah. Don't just buy, I won't buy a Lambo. I don't want a Lambo.
I hate them. Wraiths were my dream car.
Yeah.
That was the Rolls Royce Wraith was my dream car. I always wanted it. Private jets. I wanted, bro, I didn't plan on using the jets for marketing. I used to see Meek Mill on Instagram getting on jets, bunch of money and just always on private jets. And I used to just want to know what that felt like. I wanted to experience it.
Yeah.
So when you say do things because you want to do it, I was doing things because I was like, yo, I finally like, I can do this. Like I figured out how to do it. That was the thing for me. Is like the McLaren came, it was an impulse. Like I bought them cars. My cars, I haven't bought a new car in 2.5, 3 years. I bought my Wraith. It was my dream car. I bought it for my birthday.
Yeah.
My McLaren, I bought it. I had $1 million day and I didn't know what to do to celebrate. And I'm like, I'm driving and I rolled past the dealership and it was recession-proof blue and it was sitting there. And I said, let me go look. And
what are the odds?
It was the right color, blue. I liked it. I didn't know what I wanted to celebrate. I was really going to go buy, I was going to go buy a watch. And I wanted to buy a watch and engrave it and just have it as a memorabilia. And I said, well, it's probably a little bit more fun than a watch. I bought a car. My wife was pissed. Like she didn't know. We didn't make plans for it. I just went
came home with one.
She was livid. She still hates the car.
That's funny.
Just because of the transaction of like.
How it happened.
Yeah. I just pulled up and she was like, what'd you do? Get that on Turo? And I'm like, nah. And she like, no, you didn't. I'm like, yep. And so, but this is one of the things that I bought. I fell in love with it when I seen it. It was a celebration. And I was like, I ain't got a sports car. I went and bought it. I didn't like Lamborghinis. Yeah. And it stuck and I just always had it. So now you'll see it in videos and stuff. And the blue is the same color. The brand. Yep. And now everybody is used to it. It's just helped. And it helped with marketing and branding. I would put it in videos and it would get a bunch of attention. The doors go up. So it will always catch attention. So it kind of helped boost my ads and things like that. But it was something that I've always been into.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think, like even for me, right, now that I do like watches and I do enjoy nice cars, I do enjoy nice vacations. I do enjoy golfing and all these things. Like I just show what I enjoy, right? And it's not that like I'm showing it just to gloat or to market or whatever. And truthfully, I don't want to even say I'm showing it to show like what's possible. And like, if you work hard, you'll get that. Like, I think all of those things like play a role, but at the end of the day, I'm just showing what I do. It's not for anybody else. It's just like, yo, this is what I do. Like,
you can see when somebody, sometimes it's kind of cringeworthy. I can see when people go do things just to take pictures there.
Yeah.
You could tell by the outfits. It's like, oh, this was set up. Like, you playing outfits and the whole thing. It's like, this was like a photo shoot vacation. Like, we went Maldives. I do things like people, like I don't even use this content as much, but the underwater hotel room, I remember seeing there, and bro, I have things that I just want to accomplish and see. Yeah. And it's like, yo, this room is $25,000 a night. And I'm like, I'm going one day. I'm like, it's underwater, and I'm sitting there like, yo, what does that feel like? Like, what is that? I gotta see it. And for my honeymoon, we went, and it wasn't like, me and my wife didn't have matching outfits and the whole setup. Like, we literally, like, I'm shooting some kind of content in here, but we end up doing like a dance challenge and just playing, and showed it a little bit, because you got to show it on social media. I had to figure out a way to get it out there. Yeah. Shot a couple videos under, but I'm like, I really enjoyed the things that I've seen, and you get exposed to things on social media because we get to see things now. Yeah. Explore page is going to show us nice vacations, and you look and go, I want to go there, have a good time. But it was like one of the most relaxing vacations I had. Yeah. But I really got to enjoy it. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing that I tell people all the time, is that you may see things and you look and go, man, what is that like? Go enjoy it. Like, it's not always a aspect of like, yo, it got to be an ad. Like, I got to shoot content. Yeah. Now we get to be stories. You get to run with me throughout the day, and you just get to see it. If you follow me, you see it on my story, what we did, how it went, and just get exposure.
And it's definitely a balance. Like, I've over time learned, like, you know what, I don't need to film this. I was in Costa Rica like 2-3 weeks ago looking at real estate to buy. We put a piece of land under contract, and they're like, dude, you want to bring like someone with you to go film this and make content? And I'm like, honestly, dude, like, no. Like, I'm just going to go chill and like be fine.
You ever get tired of creating content? Like, do you get to a point now, like, for myself, I'll say, like, I've been here a week. Yeah. Nobody knew. Yeah. My videographer's not here. None of my team's here. Like, I literally came with my family. I didn't go to a club. I didn't go to a casino. I didn't shop. We literally swam, rented a house, swam, spent time with the family, and did nothing. And I was like, I don't want to shoot. Like, I don't want to sit here. Like, we got the nice house.
Think about how I have to work and how I can use this. Yeah.
I'm like, yo, I want to relax. Like, next week I'm going to Jamaica. And I was like, do I take my team? Do I take my content creator? Like, sometimes it gets to a point where it's like, I don't want to even film and record stuff. You get to that point?
Oh yeah, all the time. But no, you know what for me, when I'm in the office, I work, and so, we're going to film. I got something to film after this. I got ads to film. Like, I'll film all day, every day when I'm in the office. Yeah. Where I get burnt out is like outside of the office. They're like, let's film this. Let's go film that. We're going to Cabo this week for a company trip. And they're like, our film guy can't go because he doesn't have a passport. Like, who do we want to get somebody else? And I'm like, honestly, I don't really give a crap. Like, if somebody films it, great. If nobody does, that's also great. Like, I don't care.
Yeah. No, I think it's important. You know what? I don't think we have those conversations. Like, we don't really talk like, it gets a little overwhelming all the time creating once you get good at it. Like, it used to be exciting where I wouldn't miss anything. I would be ticked like, yo, don't miss nothing. Like, when we moving around, don't miss anything. But now I think that you once you get dialed in, because there's a lot of people out there that struggle with that of like, I want to create, over create at first, and eventually it comes to a point where it just becomes natural and it's easier, and you start producing, your value to the world.
With brand building, another thing I've seen you talk about is, the value of, just like more traditional methods, right? Not just social media or Facebook ads or whatever, right? I saw you had like something at like the roller rink recently. You took everybody rollerblading, whatever, skating, whatever you call it.
Yeah. So with that is that a lot of times I built my brand and my community off of being connected. Like, I like to go outside. I'm not one of the people that you see on social media, you're a figment of imagination. You go to a conference and they come on the stage, they talk, and then they disappear. Like, I go out and hang out.
Yeah.
Once I'm off the stage, I'm outside. I'm in the vendor booth area. I'm going by the booths, talking. It's me and my shooter and probably one of my team members, and we just gonna go hang out with everybody.
Right.
Let's take every picture we could take. Let's shake every hand. Let's hear what questions we got, to really be accessible. And sometimes I did the skating ring. Let's just hang out. Like, it doesn't have to always be, okay, hey, I'm doing an event, come pay for a ticket, come here. No, I'm paying for this. It's free. Come hang out. Let's go skate. Your kids here, my kids is here. I'm human. And so it's not only is it cool people get to see online and it's like, oh man, I should have went, but also it allows the real life connections with people. And that's one of the biggest things to me is like, I'm a real person. Like, I like to do things in real life. Like the smart car I got, you'll see it riding around Atlanta, marketing. You'll get to see the things that you see online, really getting to see it, getting to touch my mascots. I mean, send my mascot to the mall to just go hang out and fuck around, you know? And those are the things that people get to see and go, oh, this guy's a real person. Yeah. Sometimes online, you look and be like, what are they like in person? Do I ever get to shake their hand? Do I get to meet them? Mm-hmm. And so my thing is that, you know, it builds a stronger connection to the brand. Yeah. So when people see it, they're connected to recession-proof. They're a part of it. They really know, okay, I really like this guy. I really like what he has going on, and I'm proud to be a part. Yeah,
100%. So let's talk about what exactly is recession-proof.
So recession-proof is a mindset that I got my real estate license in 2006.
You've been in real estate longer than me.
Yeah, I was in and out.
I was in and out?
No, I got my license 2006. The market crashed 2008.
You're like, I'm out.
Bro, it was because, you know, you get a real estate check, $12,000, $14,000. Mm-hmm. Oh man, wait a minute. I'm retiring by 30. I'm 18.
You were 18 when you got your license, yeah.
I'm like, yo, at 19 years old, I remember speaking to kids at churches, telling them about real estate. And I'm going, I'm retiring by 30. Nope, market crash. Now I'm sitting here having loan modification conversations and meetings with people I just sold houses to.
Right.
So now it's like, this is like very awkward. And I'm 19, so they grilling me, 20 years old. Man, I knew I shouldn't have bought a house from this kid. Like, you know, you didn't know this, is that. And now it's like, it's looking like it's my fault. So it's my broker sitting in with me kind of as we're going through explaining to people how we got to do loan modifications. And I'm like, yeah, this not it. Like, the checks are slowing up. I'm not making money now like a bad guy. So I had to figure out, what am I going to do now to fill this void and this high? Because I'm exposed to too much money. Yeah, I can't go at 20 years old. Job. No, at 16, I did telesales. So I was doing telemarketing and already was exposed to making $2,000 a month at 16. So I'm already exposed to money. I can't go, I'm not going to McDonald's, Wendy's. It doesn't fit. I can't live off of that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, got to figure it out. So at that point is when I came up with like the recession-proof mindset. I will always say like, yo, whatever I do, it has to make me money 2 or 3 different ways. So I ended up like figuring out how to repair cell phones and working in a cell phone repair center.
This was back in like 2008, 2009.
This is like 2010. I moved to Atlanta. When I moved to Atlanta, I had years where I was like selling shoes. I was going to the flea market, buying shoes, selling shoes, mastering Craigslist.
Yeah.
And doing things online. This was like before e-commerce was as popular. So we had Craigslist.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I was flipping couches. I was flipping furniture, cell phones. I was doing all those same things.
Yep. And so I did all of that online, but the recession-proof mindset was always make money 2 or 3 different ways, because if something stops, you cannot get put in the position you did with this real estate market.
Right.
So I worked at a Sprint store I did cell phone repair. I then would go on Craigslist and repair phones. I would repair phones outside. Then I end up getting a kiosk in the mall. So I'm working in Sprint, got a cell phone repair kiosk in the mall, and I'm doing it on Craigslist.
Yeah.
So we end up opening up like a Boost Mobile store, and it was always make money 3 or 4 different ways. Because if I lost my job at Sprint, these don't stop.
Yeah.
So if my kiosk isn't performing well, these don't stop.
Yeah.
So that was the recession-proof mindset. Then
I got a question about that though. So like, I'm with you because like obviously I have a lot of different businesses and streams of income, and you know when I got licensed in real estate in 2010, so I came after the crash, and it was super hard, like you said. I wasn't making no money, and so that led me to figuring out other things like couch flipping and all these like hustles. I was substitute teaching for a little bit. Like I was doing everything. Yeah. And now the thing like I kind of stress to people is I'm like, hey, look, you can have a bunch of side hustles, but you're never going to like get rich. Like it's good for, hey, if you want to have a normal job, you want to have a side hustle, like it's better than nothing. But if you want to be truly rich and great at something, you got to get really good at one thing.
Okay. So the thing with that is that the one thing you have to have multiple ways to skin the cat. You can be good at one thing, but you better have multiple ways at the thing you're good at. Like when I said, if you listen, I was in a cell phone repair center in Sprint.
Yeah.
I opened up a cell phone repair kiosk in the mall. I did cell phone repair on Craigslist. Yeah. It's the same thing, but I was making money in one niche. See, I'm not going to go in here and do cell phones. And then I'm going to go and be, I'm working on cell phones and I'm mastering nails and I'm doing massage therapy over here. It has to be conducive to each other, but you have to make it to where when this industry takes a turn, you're so insulated in it that you're always protected. You want to integrate vertically. Yeah. See, that's the biggest thing is like learning how to integrate vertically to where things are like you're in a niche and it's going, okay, this makes sense. Like you go, okay, I'm an educator. I'm a teacher. Well, it makes sense for me to have a podcast on educating and teaching. Yeah. If you came in here and had a fitness podcast, it would be like, bro, get it, but wrong podcast. Yeah. Like, wrong lane. Like you can master one thing. If you master plumbing, you still should be able to go and say, okay, I'm a master at plumbing, but I still need to make money on YouTube. So I should be recording and doing things on YouTube. I still should have an in-person event around plumbing where people can come out and learn and connect with me. I still should have a mastermind for plumbing. It's so many different things and business models that apply, but you don't switch lanes. Yeah. You don't go and say, I'm going to be a plumber, but I'm also going to be a motivational teacher. Yeah. It's like, no.
They're two totally different things.
Because the focus is different in what it takes to master that audience. In that lane, it's not cultivating in the same arena.
Yeah. I've always said like for us and everything we do, so it always started with real estate. That was the backbone. And everything branched off from there to support real estate. So I flip houses. People want to learn how to flip houses. So we start education. Yeah. All these people are now asking me for taxes. And so I start a tax company. People want to invest with me now. So I start a fund, you know, so it's just like, it all goes back to real estate.
And it is based around it. So a lot of times when people will say something like, yo, you got to focus in on a niche, they think they got to do one thing. And it's like, okay, I should just be flipping houses. And it's like, that's cool. You can flip houses. Yeah. But as you're flipping houses throughout the process, are you not creating content about the houses you're flipping? Yeah. Yep. Are you not building a brand about what it is that you do? You're leaving money on the table by thinking, oh, digging into the niche is only one thing, meaning I got to be a one-trick pony. Yeah. I'm only doing this. It's like, no, figure out ways to be recession-proof. Is that, okay, cool. I've mastered YouTube and now people are watching me flip houses on YouTube, and the market comes and the pandemic happens and the price of lumber goes up and all these things. Well, I'm still on YouTube making money to generate and help with me become more profitable, to where some people, if I'm making $100,000 a month on YouTube, some people in the industry, they can't make money anymore because the price of lumber and how it was during the pandemic. It was hard for contractors to get in here and do work. Everything was inflated. And so, well, I'm making money other ways that can help me still become profitable and still get my deals done, because of the ways that I generate income.
100%. No, totally agree. we went through that last year when the market turned a little bit for real estate. It was a really tough time for house flipping, especially because we had so many flips. I mean, we had like 40 to 50 flips going on at once. And then they raised interest rates. Nobody wants to buy, like, lost a fat chunk of change, 7 figures. And thankfully, I had all the other things I had going on,
If you didn't,
I'd be in a tough spot.
You'll be in a total different position.
Yeah.
But that's why I tell people is that you gotta have that mindset. But that's being recession proof, is that, well, what put you through those hard times? I'm making money 5 different ways, 6 different ways. This way may have slowed up and got tough, but
it'll come back too, like everything is cyclical.
Yeah.
In this space. And it makes you realize you got to constantly be innovating. So many people think like, oh, dude, I figured it out. It's like, no, bro, you've never figured it out. We're always changing.
It'll never stop. I had a conversation with my wife, and she was like, you think it'll ever be like enough where we get to a point where we can just sit back and relax, or people can just get into a position and relax? I said, no, it don't matter even if you live frugal. It don't matter if you live below your means. I said, Vegas is one of the places where they think that they're never gonna, nothing can affect Vegas. It's gambling. People come through. The pandemic happens.
Yeah.
You can't travel.
Yeah.
Hotel workers, the hotels are empty.
Yeah.
What happens here? They get hammered. It was unpredictable. I said in the 90s, we dealt with the .com era where we started getting online. You go from there and you go into the early 2000s where cell phones start to become a thing. Once cell phones become a thing, now smartphones, now social media, now to a point where you used to market on commercials and radio and billboards to where now it's like that's dinosaur.
Yeah.
Now you market on podcasts.
Yep.
Podcasts didn't exist 3-4 years ago. They weren't popular.
Right.
You go back 5 years, nobody thought about marketing or having a podcast to show and talk about business and for it to be a marketing arena and a lane for marketing. This is just 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
I said, so there's always going to be a thing where you have to adjust and grow. Mm-hmm. And you'll never get to a point where, oh yeah, we got it figured out. It'll be set. I said, Google, Apple, the all these companies are now in trouble because of AI.
Yeah.
Now they were the gold chip stock. They were the blue chip stocks where you can invest in these and let it sit for 10, 15 years. It's a safe investment. Now they're not looking that safe.
No.
Now it's looking like, okay, yeah. So now the people who are 65 and thought that for the next 10, 15 years, I can leave my money parked here and I'll get this return off of these companies. Now the people who have invested their money has to go back to the drawing board, restudy, learn AI, and go, okay, wait a minute, what's happening? What's about to take over? Because it's about to hit the fan.
Yeah.
This is not guaranteed. These returns aren't going to be guaranteed. These companies are falling. The stocks is falling.
Yeah.
Other companies are taking over. What happens? So these are the things that I look at and say, it's always going to be changing. You always have to be willing to learn and study the market and be active.
Yeah. And I've done that throughout my whole career, but even watching the big guys, it's so fascinating to see because, for example, like you mentioned, Google. In my mind, I was like, Google's the biggest monopoly in the world. These guys own search. They've got YouTube. Mm-hmm. They've got Android. Nobody's touching these guys. And then out of the blue, ChatGPT comes along and is a direct, immediate threat. It does what Google's supposed to do, but better. And you're like, holy crap, these guys came out of nowhere. Then you see like things like Facebook, which has been around for 15 years now, and they've constantly evolved and they've bought up threats like Instagram and they've copied Snapchat and TikTok, and they're constantly innovating their product to make sure they're staying relevant. And then, they switch to Meta because they make this big bet on the metaverse. And now, that bet didn't look too hot, but then you see Apple now just released the Vision Pro and they're going all in on like this headset thing.
Mm-hmm. And when you look at that, you say they're constantly evolving. What happens is you can modify a 68 Camaro as much as you want. Eventually, the structure just doesn't be able to compete. You can't put a 68 Camaro on the road with a SVJ Lamborghini. It gets outdated. Facebook has massive control. You can copy TikTok, you can copy Snap, but you can't keep innovating the way that they do. TikTok is crushing them now.
Yeah.
And it's nothing you can do because it's too new with the technology and the platform in which it's built off of, the database and the framework that TikTok has, and where it came from is too new. Facebook is too outdated. You're betting on the metaverse that everything is going to go here. If that does not catch, you're in trouble.
You're in big trouble.
But TikTok can adapt to the metaverse easily because they're a newer platform in the way that they're built and structured for the audience. They have that younger demographic and that audience there to where if they implement it, it makes more sense for TikTok. It makes more sense for, you look at Twitch, like where did Twitch come from? And now it's like, yo, these things are taking over the attention of the younger demographics and the younger ages who actually utilize these platforms.
Yeah.
They're not on Facebook.
No.
So they can adapt in 10 years. They'll be MySpace. It sucks to say, or they're just going to be a platform for social, the older generation to hang out on, but it's not going to be as relevant. 10 years from now, Facebook won't be as relevant. Instagram is losing its juice. Everybody's going to YouTube, TikTok, getting on different streaming platforms to do different things and be interactive, where now with AI, it's going to only get worse.
Yeah. Microsoft even making a comeback with Bing and their AI.
Yeah, it's trying, but it's going to be hard because they're monopolies, but you can only modify so much.
Yeah.
Off of what you're built off of what your core graphic and demographic is, and you don't have a strong pull. Mm-hmm. If they would have bought TikTok, if Facebook would have got to buy TikTok, it would have controlled the monopoly.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
They didn't get Snapchat either, right? Like no. Snapchat was the first person to say no.
Yep.
And stood on its own, which encouraged, just if I'm right, I could be wrong, but I think that kind of encouraged TikTok to be like, nah, we're standing over here on our own. We're not going into the monopoly.
Well, what's interesting is like nobody wants to go up against these big monopolies for good reason, right? And then, somebody just gets the courage to do it, and then they cause extreme disruption. OpenAI, I think, I don't know what they are today, but they got valued at like 30 billion, a few months ago. TikTok's worth however much TikTok's worth, who knows? Yeah. Another funny one I've been watching since I'm into golf is the PGA Tour and Live, and they just merged together last week, and you're like, wait a minute, these guys were just like hating on each other this whole time, and now they're merging because like even the PGA, which has been around, I don't know, 100 years, with no competition, no competitors or anything, all of a sudden in 2 years, this league sprouts up and takes all their players and has way more money than them, and they're like, dang, we're in trouble.
It's only so much you can modify. Think about it. You look at companies. You could even look at people, right? So many influencers. Look at Grant. Grant Cardone's a great marketer, great business guy. Created a monopoly. Grant 65.
Yeah.
Somebody else is coming.
Yeah.
Ryans are coming. And it's like, wait a minute, this is the guy for real estate. This was the guy for real estate, but now he's the fund. He transitioned into the right position and goes, I can monopolize this. But when you look, it's his demographic and hold on social as strong as it was. Like how you go back when Ty Lopez was, and then you see a Grant merge pass and just kind of control the whole market. Somebody else has to take over because you're only going to be able to grow so much. Or in the smart business guys, they transition where you look and say, Grant makes more off of raising his fund. Like his fund is the biggest thing now. It's not, he does great with online sales and courses and things like that, but his fund is carrying him into the sunset.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to realize in business that something has to carry you into the sunset, and realize when you transition out because something new's coming.
So what do you think that's going to be for you?
that's going to take me out. That's the part where now like my jet brokerage. So looking at doing different mergers and leveraging my brand, my personal brand, my audience, and my influence in other industries. So when I bought my private jet, I bought the jet.
What kind of jet was it?
Falcon 50.
Okay.
So
is that like a mid-size?
Mid-size, yeah, mid-heavy.
Okay.
So when I bought the Falcon, I bought that, and what I did was I bought into a jet brokerage. So I bought into the brokerage company. Well, I'm like, you're gonna make a few $100,000 off this deal by selling me the plane, but you're also gonna charter my plane. And when people can't book it, what do? Book something else. From who? You. Sell me a part of the company. I'll help market. I'll help with social media, different things, influence, use my leverage relationships. And so I end up buying into the company at a decent percentage. And the evaluation went from 50 million to 100 million in probably 18 months. So what I realized is that I said, okay, at this point, we got an offer for 84 million to buy the company. And we're like, nah, we can get this company up to $1 billion. Like with the structure and how we have things, no debt, it's a technology company. We can get this to $1 billion. And I realized at that point how strong my influence was, to where when I start bringing other people in, buying jets, people around me, you'll see them opening, buying jets and things like that. But my face isn't attached to it. And so I looked at the evaluation. I said, okay, how do I get to 100 million? And at that point now I started looking at different companies that I can endorse and things that I can be influential to, leveraging my likeness and not always just direct sales.
Right.
So it's not going to have to be me doing direct sales. It's realistically getting into the mergers and acquisitions, learning how to partner with different businesses and bring what I bring to the table and kind of ride that out.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest focus now. It's not, my brand online is my brand online, but once you have a platform and you have influence, it's endless.
Yeah. No, that's what we've realized too, is like, at the end of the day, there's a lot of great opportunities out there for mergers and acquisitions. And so, I started a company called Pineda Partners. You guys can go to pinedapartners.com and apply for partnership. And so, we've already closed a couple of deals that I think have 9-figure plus potential. And, it's like, I wouldn't have been able to start those companies on my own. Like, I don't know the first thing about them. Like, they've put in years of work to get them to this point. And now they just need, like what you said, the things that I know well: relationships, marketing, sales, we can recruit. And to your point also too, they shouldn't really require me as the face or the marketer. Like, I'm the face for my own stuff already.
Yes.
So how do I use my skill set and the relationships I have to help grow our partners' companies?
Yeah, that's the thing that I think that once we develop the brands and we set everything up, that helps us take us to the next level. Because in reality is that it's cool. You master to get online, you educate, you teach, but it can only go so far. And based off of your skill set, you could set the infrastructure up. Like now I have my university set up. It runs great. But then sometimes it's like, yo, do you still get a high and the enjoyment off of it? Mm-hmm. Is it still as exciting as it was when you first started?
Right.
And those are the things that I look at and go, okay, eventually I know I'm gonna have to work. I don't ever plan on stop working.
Yeah.
But what kind of work do I do? And then how far do I grow? Mm-hmm. Like what's gonna be my ceiling? Like what's the roof on this industry that I'm in?
Right.
So it's just
there's always a roof. That's what I've realized. Like, I went from flipping couches where the roof was like $10,000 a month. I'm like, dude, I've kind of like capped out. Yeah. Then you start flipping houses and, I've seen people flip houses and do 8 figures, but it's rare. But, in the end, I kind of capped out here, around 100 flips.
Yeah.
And we could do more, but it's like, man, is it worth the squeeze to try and go get 200 and the risk, or is there better opportunities? And so, you start going to other opportunities like, wow, education is way more scalable than, flipping. Mm-hmm. Social media is way more scalable. And so you do that and you're like, all right, well, there's also a cap to this now. So what's next? You know, is it a jet brokerage? Is it franchises? Is it tech?
So, I looked at tech with the jet brokerage. It's realistically, I always say jet brokerage, and I do that as like marketing. So people hit me up for the for the jets, but it's a tech company.
Why?
Because it's all based off of an app. It's all there.
Yeah.
So I don't ever plug the company and say it. People will go to my bio and go through my stuff. Yeah. But it's an app. And so it's where you can go and get a jet. It's where you can go and get you can charter a jet, you can charter a yacht, you can charter yachts, you go get mansions, you can get vehicles.
So even if it's not your guys' fleet, you can still charter other.
Yeah, it's not our fleet. We own nothing.
Okay. So you're like Airbnb for jets.
Airbnb, Turo, VRBO, all of it together. But then we also have concierge where they connect everything for you. So now you got somebody on the phone making sure when you get off that the driver's there, making sure that, okay, these are the kind of villas that you want. Okay. Yeah. So everything is set up. Okay. Where do you want to eat at? Everything, instead of being in a position where you go on a vacation and somebody has to handle it for you, or you got to have a butler.
Yeah.
And you like, okay, well, who gives you the butler?
Right.
This is one that, okay, well, here, we'll put a butler with you for, the luxury travel for people who travel and move like that.
Yeah.
We'll put it all together. But it's a tech company.
It's full concierge.
Yeah. So that's the tech company. But I was looking at what real estate we deal with, and one of the things that always had my attention that I liked was the storage units. And I'm like, struggle with getting them up to full occupancy. And I said, you know what? I might just go get franchises. Like, I've been talking like CubeSmart, and I'm like, I might just go just start doing franchises and just starting and branding and running with different franchises and just building that portfolio up where then, okay, I got 5 or 6 of them and just sell the whole bundle. In 5 years, can I get them to full occupancy and let the franchise, the whole thing go? And so it's just so many different avenues when it comes into dealing with M&A and dealing with different businesses, because there's so many different approaches. And it's like, where's my best value?
Yeah. Does the jet brokerage have empty legs?
Yep.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I've actually been waiting for an empty leg to pop up for Cabo. I'm like, I got my fingers crossed. I'm like, man, hopefully. Because there's always a ton of them from Vegas to Cabo.
Yeah. Vegas to Cabo, Vegas to LA.
Yeah. Oh yeah, getting LA is easy.
Yeah.
The empty
it's
legs.
just, lights out. I'll check and let you know.
Yeah.
And see what's out there.
Yeah. So how does, if you guys aren't actually like a charter company, how do you guys make money?
What do you mean like a charter company?
I guess the way I look at the usual charter companies I use out here in Vegas, they got their own fleet, they manage them, they, whatever.
They usually don't.
They don't have their own fleet. They're doing the same thing.
It's usually owner. A lot of times is that it's owner operators.
That are putting their planes under management with those guys.
Or they're out available. Like, people are constantly booking like flights. When you go out to look for, if let's say you need a private jet going from Vegas to Cabo, and we put it out there, looking for a plane Vegas to Cabo, the management companies are the ones that's hitting back. It's kind of like, when you booking a load on trucks, it's like they'll start to hit back. It's not just, okay, we got these planes and these are the only ones that we're going to move. They wouldn't be able to exist. If they got 5 planes, like, they're not doing great because
they can't support the staff.
Only so much I can do. Yeah. Because the demand comes in. So a lot of times is that they're booking planes out from other companies and different people, and then they get paid off the booking.
Got it. What do they usually get paid off the booking?
So the pin it's not. It's one of the volume games. Yeah. But it's just a higher volume where you might do $1,500, $2,000. Sometimes, we take losses sometimes depending on the client. Because if we want to compete and we want to win over the client, we may drop the price down. So it's like, oh, he's cheaper than everybody else. Yeah. Because we want to get the client's business.
Long term.
So it's not always a thing where you may make $1,500, $2,000 off of a booking. Yeah. And so it's always different different scales and when they travel and how if we land an empty leg, like we were at Super Bowl, it's a million planes out there. People were like, yo, we got an empty leg leaving out. We just started buying them. Like we just gonna buy them up front on an empty leg price, and now we're selling it retail because we know people got to go back. So we know somebody's going to Philly.
Yep.
So we
so
like,
you're
yo,
arbitraging.
Yeah. So in that sense we did because we get to see insight. So this is where I'm coming in at, and I'm like, it was like a 16 seater going out, and it was like 60 grand. I'm like, bro, that's a $90,000, $95,000 flight. I said at worst case at 16 seats at 60 grand, we sell each seat. Yeah. Like we'll do a party and just we'll go. And Jalen Hurts ended up taking it. And so, you know, we end up retailing it. So it's like you realize now that's the profit was a lot larger. Yeah. So these are the things that kind of happen, and it's just so many different variables that go in that people never could see.
So what about like these jet brokers who they sell planes too? So like I've talked to a couple of them, and they're like, hey, you know, I can go find you a plane, which they're just searching and whatever. Then they're like, yeah, and then we can manage it for you. So like,
that's the money.
How are they managing it for me? Like, it's just that, so like they're the ones who at that point are telling the other companies who like yours, like, hey, we've got this plane if you need it.
I'm a partner in this industry, so I'm not the expert in this industry. Yeah. So I could be wrong. They'll get on my top. They'll be like, yo, you should have said this, or you should have said this. But when it comes to managing, is that it's a lot that comes into dealing with the planes, with your certificates,
your maintenance,
everything that goes on, making sure that the price is right, making sure you got all your paperwork together, the clearances when it travels. It's not one of those things where it's like you can get it and just send it places. It's a lot of work that goes into it. So there's companies like Dumont Jets that will do the management. They'll go out and they have constantly hiring pilots. They have multiple jets under, like Dumont has 100 jets, 200 jets. And as managing it, they'll give you perks and benefits. So with the bigger companies is perks and benefits because like we did a deal with Dumont, and Dumont would give me owner pricing if I flew any plane under their company. But they were maintenance. They had maintenance centers. So whenever one time I was in New York, my plane went down and they brung a plane from DC that had to fly the parts over because they didn't have a part and to fix it quicker, but I needed to leave. So I took another plane at the same rate I was booking my plane for. Yeah. And it was a bigger plane, but this was the part of being with a management because they have a fleet. So when you buy a plane and you got them, they not only is it keeping it booked, but you look at, okay, how many other people's planes do you manage? And what's the perks and benefits from being with you from the ownership side standpoint? But even with like a Dumont, they don't only book their jets. They're booking planes. They'll go out and get other planes that's out there on the market if nothing's available. Right. So with that is that when you put it with somebody, it's just they manage everything. They kind of handling your paperwork. They're handling the maintenance and the bookkeeping and making sure everything is registered correctly. And it's a bunch that goes into it. But like I said, I'm not the expert in that industry. I was a rookie and ran into so many mistakes and learned so much in it. But I just bought into the company. So I kind of started learning just from. So
do you think, I've thought about buying a plane. Like, is it true I can actually use it and still make money or break even, or it's tough?
It's tough. Yeah. The reason I say it was tough now on that side, because I had months I made 90,000 off my plane and I'm like, yes. But I had months I lost 30. 60, and I'm having to pay, not lost, but I'm having to pay. The benefit was, where it benefited me was taxes. Social media.
You got recession-proof on the plane?
Of course. So that made me the money. To where the value is intrinsic. You can't see it. It's just branding.
Just the P&L is only one aspect of it.
You can't. And so I said, hey, I know when I bought that plane, my numbers went through the roof. went through the roof with sales and things like that.
People keep telling me that.
It changed. And I said, oh, so was it worth it? 1,000%. After a while, I started paying and realizing, like, I didn't know, like, you know how you deal with your staff here?
Yeah.
I didn't know what to deal with them. Somebody said they're going to manage your plane. You think, okay, well, cool. All I would look for is like, how are we doing?
Yeah.
I didn't know I should be talking to my pilots. I didn't know, like, Christmas came around. I didn't give Christmas bonuses and one of them quit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Got rough.
Yeah.
To where now I don't have enough pilots in rotation. I'm losing $15,000, $20,000 every single month because we're not getting enough flight time.
Got it.
And I'm like,
why didn't no one tell me that?
So when people ask, like, yo, what do you think? I'm like, yo, you have to learn the business. It's like another business. You have to learn it.
Yeah.
So my biggest thing was if I wouldn't have partnered with the different brokerage and the company that I'm with, it wouldn't have been great for me.
Right.
It wouldn't have
It's
been.
all going to be dependent on the management.
Yes. The management and your involvement. If you plan on making money off of it, you'll make more money if you stay off of it.
Right.
You want to have a jet and fly on it? Cool. Don't plan on making money.
Yeah.
Take the taxes, go use it for marketing.
Yeah.
And it'll, do videos on it, do things like that, shoot, talk about it, create jet content about the actual airplane in the industry.
Right.
Go do that. It'll help you make money because we're online.
Right.
Saying, okay, I want to jet, I want to broker it out and make money, stay away from it. I stay away from mine.
Okay. That's good to know. So the other, I mean, we've talked about branding, we've talked about jets. The other part of your business is credit.
Yeah.
And, I've had a lot of credit guys on the podcast before and people love it. They eat credit up. And obviously I'm a big proponent of credit because it's helped me get to where I'm at today. I had to max out my credit cards to flip my very first house and, went 50 G's in debt to buy that first house. And people were like, dude, you're crazy. And I'm like, I don't think it's that crazy. Like, this is how I'm gonna start my business. And so I'm a big proponent of credit. And I think just debt is debt. I'm taking out mortgages. I'm taking out, HELOCs. It's all the same. You're borrowing money.
Yeah, I just tell people debt isn't for dummies.
Yeah.
Like, it's debt isn't for dummies. Make sure that you're educated on what it is you're going to debt for.
Right.
Like
student loans.
Yeah, right. But like you said, you did a flip. You maxed out your credit card for your first flip.
Yeah.
If it was your first flip, I hope you won.
I did, thankfully.
Because,
25K. Because
some people won't.
They don't. Right.
And that's where it ends up bad. And that's why I tell people is that it's education before compensation. Is that you have to make sure that you're properly educated, that you know what you're investing in when you leveraging somebody else's money, because it'll put you in a worse position, because a lot of people are eager to go and it's like, okay, I got good credit, or I can fix my credit and I'll go get $50,000, $100,000 in credit cards and I'll do whatever I could do because I want to flip a property. And it's like, bro, you went to go flip a property in New York City. You found or in Alabama, you bought some land and you thought I'm gonna build on it.
Yeah.
And it's like you went and bought land somewhere that nobody's developing or nobody's looking to purchase, and you don't even understand the comps in the area or what you're doing or why. And why did you buy that? What made you? And when you're uneducated, now you invest somebody else's money and you realize, oh wait, I got a payment due every single month.
Yeah.
Oh, and I got to try to make this deal make sense. And if this in real estate, is that it's a lot of variables that can extend the time. Sometimes it can go faster than you expected, but it's a lot of variables in it. Just make sure that people you understand, make sure I'm educated on doing it and that I'm going to actually win. It's the biggest thing I tell people is that you start a business, you don't need to go borrow a bunch of money to start a business. If you could turn 1,000 to 2,500, and it starts to make sense, then it's okay. Then you insulate the 1,000 from somebody else to turn to 2,500. You do a 5,000 to turn it to whatever it goes into, and to be able to invest somebody else's money. But you don't ever want to go and say, this hasn't worked yet. I've never done this. I'm taking a chance and I'm using somebody else's money to take this chance. It's like, yo, That's the worst thing that you can do.
And I have no idea what I'm doing.
Have no idea. Nope. Just, I'm gonna start a t-shirt company, and I'm going buying screen press machines. I'm creating websites. I'm paying people, because people pay somebody to do my funnel. I'm gonna pay somebody to run my ads. And it's like, yo, you haven't generated $1 yet.
Yeah.
And you don't understand how to even use the credit. So I tell people is that insulate yourself as much as possible when it comes to credit. Figure out ways to make your credit make you money.
Yeah.
Before I started running heavy on ads, I made sure my ads worked. I would spend $100,000 a month or 2 weeks on advertisement because I knew it was converting. Mm-hmm. Now I'm going, okay, which credit card is going to give me the biggest reward? So I know my Gold Amex is going to give me higher reward points when it comes to running ads. So I'm going to spend heavy on this. It's going to grow my limit. It's a charge card. So instead of having a preset limit, it's growing. So now every time I'm running on ads, my limit is growing.
Yeah.
So I can spend more and more on my ads.
Right.
But I'm also getting more reward points when I run ads. And now the money that I get from my reward points is, how do I maximize that?
Right.
How does this help my business grow? How does this help my life? How does this help my lifestyle? What am I spending money on that I can take these reward points and these benefits and perks to then transition over and, benefit and grow from?
So I love what you said about just not going crazy with credit unless you got a firm foundation for what you're about to do, and to give some context to my story for those who don't know it. I became a realtor in 2010 and I didn't do this until 2015. So I had been in the real estate game for 5 years. I understood values and deals and everything else. So I was pretty confident in the risk I was taking. On the flip side though, we get a lot of students in our coaching program at Wealthy Investor who have never flipped. They don't know anything yet. That's why they're coming in the coaching program.
Yes. And
we're like, look, here's the deal, right? A lot of people got to finance themselves into the program because they don't have a ton of money. And we're like, look, we'll help you. We'll get you credit and, that'll pay for your education and you'll learn so that when you do decide to flip that first house or whatever it is, you got the foundation to know you're going to have confidence in what you're doing, and we'll teach you how to get business credit and all these other things that are going to be necessary for your business. Every business is going to need credit no matter what.
Yes, 1,000%. And in order to scale and grow, you have to, or it just takes longer. It's like people saying, "Yeah, I don't do paid advertisement," and it's like, congratulations on bragging about your business being crippled. Yeah. How do you not?
Yeah.
And so with that is that anything that you go into, the more capital you have, the more you can do.
Yeah. And we did that for a long time too. We did not do any paid ads for we started doing paid ads about a year ago. Because we just could never figure it out. We would just test it randomly for a month and it would suck. And we're just like, whatever, dude. We just crush organic. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
And so it was fine. But we knew that to get to the next level, we had to do paid. And we're constantly still trying to figure out paid. It's a whole different beast.
Nah, it is. And I think that's where testing, the testing the paid ads and things like that. But a lot of times is that business owners don't realize sometimes you can do it just for exposure.
How much do you think you spent on paid ads?
8 figures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done over 10 million on ads.
Yeah.
Easy.
You spent 2.4 on one event.
So yeah, it's been, so that's one of the things, maybe not 8 figures. I don't think I've done over 10 million. I've probably done about between $2 and $5 million on ad spend.
Okay.
About $2 to $5 million on ad spend.
Yeah.
I haven't crossed over 10. That's a lot.
For us, I'm encouraging them to spend more. I want to get to, 6 figures, multiple 6 figures a month, and just see how far we can put. Because obviously, if you're getting a return, you should just keep spending as much as humanly possible.
It makes sense. The thing is that finding the ads that perform.
Yeah.
What performs.
McLaren with Louis bags.
It performed. I tell you, listen, I'm probably going to have to remake it because that was 2 years ago, but it performed.
Yeah.
Crazy. And it's just, you figure out what ads perform. I look at my content and just look at what performs the best.
Just keep making that.
In some way, form, or fashion, blend it into the advertisement where I could run it on an ad or something like that.
Yeah. What's your biggest way of getting organic traffic? What have you found to be successful?
The biggest way of getting organic, the biggest way, the podcast on my events.
Okay.
Putting them on my events and doing the marketing and advertisement off of there. And then other than that, on the organic side, I mean,
you're mainly on Instagram, so a lot of in the DMs and
my
else.
team, my DMs, are structured. I tell a lot of people all the time is that a lot of business owners miss money by not having their team answering and checking DMs.
Oh yeah.
And that's one of the things that a lot of people lose at, but it's also opportunity. Like if I can give somebody advice, we get people, like you said, people come in your program and they say, yo, they don't have the capital, they don't have money. Is that you could charge somebody $125 a week to answer their DMs.
Yeah.
You don't have to have access. You can do LastPass. There's softwares out there that you can use to literally get access to their DMs where you don't have control over everything and just check the messages. You could do save replies and set it up and have it structured where you automatically have replies for things that conversations, and it streamlines it. At $125 a week, if you get 10 people, you make $5,000 a month. And it's just like, it's no reason for people not to have access to capital and earned income. You need earned income, and then off your earned income, you're going to make other investments and make more money, where you start investing in education, you start learning how to flip properties, you start getting your credit together, getting access to capital. But I look at so many, it's like no reason today's society that you should not have earned income.
Yeah.
In some capacity.
I love that you say that because, obviously I'm in the real estate space where we're very big on passive income, right? And so many people are like, dude, I got to get enough passive income so I can retire by the time I'm, to your point, 30, back in the day.
Yep.
And I'm like, first off, what are you going to do the rest of your life? Number one, if you're retired at 30, you're going to be bored after a few weeks.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, real estate is hardly anything passive. There's a lot that goes into managing real estate. Mm-hmm. And then number three, though, the people try to get to passive income way too fast. And it's like, bro, you need to figure out how to earn income, like you're saying. Figure out like a job, mm-hmm. a skill. Mm-hmm. To me, like, until you have mastered a skill that can make you $250,000 a year, you don't have a skill yet.
Mm. Yeah. And the earned income and passive income, what happens is that passive income became such a sexy word. And it just kind of allows people to want to sit in that laziness. Yeah. Like it just harbors, like it makes the laziest person comfortable and thinking like, oh, I'm just trying to get passive income. Like, and it's an excuse to be lazy. Yeah. And it's like, your work ethic is what makes you rich. If you don't have work ethic, you'll never be rich. You'll never have passive income because you haven't done enough work. It's like a vehicle saying, yeah, I just want to coast. Like I want my vehicle to coast at 60. Well, then you better get it up to 120. Like you're going to have to go past what it is that you expect to get. You have to work past that. You don't just coast at a level from 0 to coasting at 60 miles an hour for the rest of your life. Like it don't work like that. You have to be willing to work, and that work ethic is something that you can't buy. It's not something that you can skip past. Like you have to work. And when you say real estate, it's a lot of work that goes into building a real estate portfolio, to building out your homes, when especially if you're doing fix and flips. Like it's a lot of work and unexpected occurrences that happen where you have to step up, and mm-hmm. you have to go out and be resourceful. You have to be the problem solver. You have to understand this, and you don't get that by being lazy, saying, oh yeah, I just want passive income. And you think, oh, I'm gonna get a property manager and they're gonna do everything. Yeah. Nah, property managers suck. They quit. Then what do you do? Well, what was my property manager doing? Oh, I'm not willing to go do that. Yeah. Now what do you do? Now, now I don't have a property manager, so my tenants are upset, and now they don't want to pay rent no more because the shower's not working, and this is messed up in the house, and now they're complaining on me. They don't want to pay rent. So now I'm fighting that because I thought this was passive and I wouldn't have to do anything. Yeah. One thing I always tell our students in regards to real estate investing is when you're first starting out, do everything yourself.
other than maybe swing the hammer,
Yeah.
right? I'm like, hey, go check on the projects, go hire the contractor, be active in how it's getting listed and the description, get the feedback from buyers, negotiate deals, like do all these things yourself so you understand the process when somebody else that you eventually hire ain't doing it.
And they can't jerk you.
Yeah.
See, the biggest, when you don't know anything, it's like people come to me and be like, I want to sell a course. Who can I go to run my ads? And do you know how to put out value content? Do you know how to sell? Are you converting on social media? Are you converting in conversation? Have you done a webinar to see what questions and feedback people get? They're like, nah, I got a course. I said, well, have you taught people? You think everything you think they need to know is that's it? They're going to have 100 questions that you forgot to answer based off of what you thought that this was going to happen.
Right.
I'm going to teach you 1, 2, 3. And I taught them everything. No, you didn't. It's questions that you didn't think about that you'll leave on the table. And if you don't walk through the process, you don't understand it.
Right.
And so being hands-on is one of the biggest things. I do every aspect of my business. I can tell you how to content create. I can tell you how my HR works. I can tell you how my sales department works. I can go into every single system and fluently understand it, to the point where I argue with my content team. And I'm like, yo, these posts shouldn't be back to back.
Yeah.
These call to actions is different. This should be set up this way.
Yeah.
And I'm constantly watching social media. The trends are changing.
Yeah.
Stop posting the same thing over. It's not working anymore.
Right.
So what's new? So we would I made a Finsta account, right? I make a fake Instagram account to figure out what's working the best. And so on my fake Instagram account, I hashtag search AI. I'll hashtag search, let's just say if I was in real estate, and save the posts, forward them to my DM, because now, and I make sure I don't do just blacks or a certain demographic. I want it to be the top ranking, because the algorithm's now going to show me what's performing the best.
Right.
So now when I go through my home feed, it's only suggested posts. I don't follow anybody.
Right.
So you're only suggesting certain things. When I go to the explore page, I get to see what's performing the best. Also, the ads that's popping up are the people who are targeting the best, and they're the best at niche down into this audience.
Right.
So now I can literally see what's the best. And I'm like, yeah, I'm figuring it out more than you. We gonna have a problem.
Yeah, because you're putting in the work.
I'm figuring it out. And because I'm active, I'm not sitting going, oh, I'm a CEO of my business, I don't have to do anything.
Gary Vee talks a lot about that. He just spends a lot of time doing the exact same thing.
Yep.
You know, and I think, even for me, right? Like, I started this whole content creation thing by learning it all myself. I studied the greats. I was there nitpicking every edit, every thumbnail, every title, description. I wrote them all myself. The reason I got so good at short form was I filmed 700 TikToks on my own with my phone, no editor. I edited them all in the app every day. I would film 2 every morning.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, all right, I got 30 minutes. I'm going to film 2 and get them completely edited before I leave the house. And that was it. That was my routine for a year. And it's like, because I believed back at that time, back before there was reels or shorts or anything, I was like, TikTok's going to be big. Yeah. People don't know it yet, but I need to learn this skill.
Yeah. But that's the importance of learning the skills. Be willing to do the work at any cost. Like, do the work. Like, if you do the work, the money will come. Yeah. I tell people all the time, do you want the money or not? I tell people, I asked, I was on live one time and I said, yeah, I'm just trying to make more money. I said, so why don't you drive for Uber? It's like, man, and the ego came out. Like, you ain't driving for Uber? And I'm like, so it's something that you're not willing to do? Yeah. At that point, you realize that it should not be anything you're not willing to do. You're not above anything if you need money. Yeah. You're struggling financially. Yeah. There's nothing. You
got no right.
And
entitlement.
That's where people get into, because you look on social media and think, oh, I want to earn it passive income, or I want to, flip houses. I don't give a damn what you want to do. What do you have to do? And what are you willing to do to get to this point? Right. That's the biggest change. Oh man, I'm not. I tell people, listen, you got 3 options out here. You can go work at McDonald's, In-N-Out. In-N-Out pays $17 an hour. I ain't working fast food. You can go, you don't want to work for somebody. You can go drive Uber, do DoorDash. There's independent things.
There's a lot of gig jobs.
Yeah, it's a lot of gigs that you can make. People who drive for Uber, the top 83% in America makes over $75,000 a year.
Wow.
Average income in America is $30,000, $40,000 a year.
Yeah.
You could drive for Uber and make double what the average household salary and income is.
Yeah. And invest in a nice car and have a nice car.
and you just put time in. But you don't have to go work for somebody. You don't got to go punch a clock and work at fast food or, and I say fast food but you don't have to go punch the clock for somebody and work a job if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Gives you independence. If not, I just told you, hey, you can go and work and do DMs and make $5,000, $10,000 a month.
Yeah.
Answering somebody's DMs, if you can be creative enough to understand technology and implement yourself into a business, and that's 3 different ways.
Learn to sell.
If imagine this, imagine charging somebody $125 a week to answer their DMs and then say, I want 5% of any sales I close.
Yeah.
You're closing people they're already reaching out to. It's the warm audience. Give me 5%. Then what happens? Okay, I make 5% off of a $1,000 product, and now every single week I bring in an extra $1,000. Now my life changes.
Yeah.
Now I'm doing, with X amount, I can cut back the amount of people I'm working for because now I'm bringing in $4,000 or $5,000 a month off of sales.
Yeah.
And plus the other service, I'm at $10,000, $15,000 a month. It's not, and it's simple to say and easier to execute if you get into the field and just start doing it.
Yeah.
You don't have to be perfect. You can suck at doing sales at first. Eventually you answer enough DMs, you're gonna see what the people are looking for. And you just start to generate more sales for a person, and you just be of service. You don't always have to be the business owner.
Yeah. I say this, and it's not to like bring people down, but 99% of people have no excuse for not being able to make 10 grand a month. Like there is 1% that, physically can't do it, disability, circumstance, whatever the case is, or maybe 90 to 99% don't have an excuse. Yeah. You got a phone, you can make 10 grand a month. And the information's out there.
It's there and the opportunities are available. I tell people it's a numbers game. Like send 500 DMs asking people.
Yeah.
Go buy a list of Fiverr for a certain niche industry. You can go on Fiverr and buy a list for $25, $50. They'll pull and scrub the list, give you emails, ways to contact, and you go through and literally get a list, get 500 people. Yeah. And all you need is 5. If you can't get 5 out of there, then you realize that, okay, maybe my communication sucks.
I got to improve, but you don't learn that until you do it.
Boom. But the opportunity, somebody will give you opportunity. Yeah. Give me $500 sign-on bonus and $125 a week. Yeah.
We done that.
You know what I'm saying? And you know it. I'm not, because you pay somebody to do your DMs.
Yeah. Yeah. They're in there. They're making money. They know they can make commissions, and
and they're probably making more than I said. Yeah. I just lowballed it at a friendly $125 a week and a 3 to 5% commission rate because you answer. You don't get 10% because you're not cold calling and doing things like that. 3 to 5 because it's based off of my traffic that I already have, but it's people that I won't reach and that I won't respond to if I do. If you wait on me, I'm not answering the messages. Right. Business owners are leaving a ton of money on the table every single day because they won't respond to people's DMs.
So for these people that they're not at 10 grand a month yet, they're trying to figure their life out. They're like, dude, Marcus, I get what you're saying. I don't even know where the first thing to start is. What do?
Join recession-proof.
Join recession-proof. Easy. Join recession-proof, join wealthy investor, whatever. But one of the two.
The honestly is start working, doing something you don't want to do. Like the easiest way.
Something uncomfortable.
Just get uncomfortable. Like, I'm not going to tell you a streamlined path because I don't know what it is that you desire. Right. The issue is you have to do something, and do something that makes you uncomfortable, and because that just strengthens your work ethic. If your work ethic changes everything. It doesn't matter what goes on in life. I continue to work. I'm always going to work. I'm always going to get up and go. You get comfortable. If you're in a position where you're not making the money you want to make, I guarantee you have more downtime and stressed and worry time than you do actually working and being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You're
and then
more
you'll forget about the stress and the worry because you're busy.
Yeah. And then you get so busy and pissed off with the work that you're doing that you don't want to do. You figure out something to do that's easier, that's more lucrative, that makes more money, that goes, man, I'm tired of doing this, but I'm living off of this. I'm not going to stop. So it's a snowball effect. That's why I say, go get a job at McDonald's.
You know, it's funny. I just watched the movie last night. Flamin' Hot is about the Flaming Hot Cheetos creator.
Got you.
And he was a Mexican guy. He was gang banging, and he finally goes legit and gets a job at Frito-Lay. And he's the janitor. He's literally the lowest of the low. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna work really hard and move my way up and all this stuff. 8 years later, he's still the janitor. He hasn't moved up, but he's like employee of the month. Like everyone loves this guy. It's not that he's like a bad employee. He's like really good. And he's learning from all these other people, trying to like be a Swiss Army knife for the company. I understand. So long story short, the company's going through layoffs and all this stuff. And he wants to save jobs in the factory. And he's like, look, I have an idea that we do as Mexicans. We love spice on all of our foods. We're throwing spice on mangoes. We're throwing it on chips. We're throwing it on everything. And you guys have nothing that would appeal to the Mexican demographic. You guys just have cool ranch Doritos, and cheese Cheetos.
Yeah.
And so he basically formulates this, concoction, which ends up becoming the Flaming Hot Cheeto, which is the best selling product of all time in that space. It's outsold every kind of chip you can imagine.
What's a hot Cheeto?
And, he had the balls to like call up the CEO and like pitch him the idea and all this stuff. But, long story short, he ends up doing that, and then he gets promotions and becomes, multi-millionaire with the company for like 40 years, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I guess the moral of that story is he just started from somewhere. He's like, yo, I got to get my foot in the door. I'm the janitor. Screw it. This is better than what I'm currently doing. I'm not having ego about it. I'm going to be the best janitor there is.
But that opportunity of him being the best, that work ethic and the attitude and tenacity that he exposed and shared within that organization gave him the ability to open his mouth to even pitch the CEO, because that CEO asks, who is this guy? And he goes, okay, his reputation was good.
Yep.
He was known for being a hard worker. Okay, so you're dependable, you're trustworthy.
Yep.
You've established these things as a person. So I'd rather look at somebody who's trustworthy, who's dependable, who's hardworking, and give an opportunity than somebody who's, okay, yeah, you've been a janitor 8 years, but you call in sick every single month.
Yeah.
You don't show up for work.
But you probably wouldn't even make it that long.
Right? But working overtime, imagine exactly the amount of time that he was able to make it to get to that opportunity that changed his life.
Yep.
He was a janitor for 8 years. And when the opportunity presented itself, he showed up.
Yeah. And like one thing too that sticks out to me about that story is like, we're both entrepreneurs. So like we're unemployable, you know?
Yeah,
so like I've never even considered the thought of jobs or anything else. I've always hustled just like you.
Yeah.
And
I've had a job before though. I had jobs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never had a job, so I don't know.
I did. I worked in a warehouse. I fell on hard times. I worked in a warehouse and I still treated it like a hustle.
Yeah.
Bro, I worked 86 hours 1 week. I was trying to figure out. They was like, yo, unlimited overtime. I was sleeping in the car 4 hours, 6 hours, go right back in, clock in. I'm like, yo, it was make $1,000 a week. I said, yo, how can I make like $3,000 in 1 week? Bro, I went so hard. It was ridiculous. But it was literally like, I treated like I'm
like
here.
it was your business. Yeah.
Not my business, my ability to make money.
Yeah.
It's my hustle.
Yeah.
This is what I can sell my time my labor.
I can get as much as I want to put into it, essentially.
And I remember seeing people who was working 40 hours and I'm like, bro, I'm doubling you. You're not even coming in for overtime.
Yeah.
Like, it was like we would work 312s. They would just do 36.
Yeah.
And then we look at our checks and I got all my dependents all the way up. So I'm maxing it out, I'm keeping, and I'm looking, I'm going, you made 400. I made 2,500.
Yeah.
This is the difference.
Yeah.
But you're okay here.
Yeah.
But now, look at life now. This is why I am who I am.
The work ethic was always there. You just found better opportunities.
Because I was tired of doing this. Like, I fell on hard time and I'm like, I had no opportunity. It was nothing. I had no choice.
Yeah.
but I'm not going to starve.
Yeah.
I'm not going to starve. I have to eat.
How long ago was that?
2000, probably a decade ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Over a decade ago.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. When I go, I'm willing, it was a time when I got to Atlanta, it's like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a time where I go, oh, it's something I'm not willing to do. Like, but you say like unemployable. At this point, what I've learned, the internet wasn't popular.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bunch of people on YouTube spewing out information and ideas. Like, nobody was giving me saying you can go and do this. I'm like, give me the ideas, I'll go do it.
Yeah.
Now, mentorship wasn't as popular.
No.
Learning, the Wealth Academy, recession-proof, these things didn't exist.
Yeah.
It wasn't as cool. It was like, oh man, this wasn't people that I look like that I can relate to doing these things.
Right.
So now I go, it's so many podcasts out here. You could sit down for a week and consume. You can go through the Wealthy Show for a week.
Yeah.
And build multiple different businesses or have ideas, and you can take pieces. Somebody's going to teach me about credit. Somebody's teaching about real estate. Somebody came on talk about content creation, how to monetize social media. Somebody talked about podcasts. It's so many things that I can take from these podcasts and the show. In a week, I can literally start a 6-figure business if I'm willing to work and I got the drive.
Yeah. 100%.
And it's free.
Yeah.
It's free.
It's free.
You can go and pay for it.
Yeah.
And you can pay for extensive help. You can.
But you're paying to shortcut it. That's what you're paying for.
But if you're willing to grind it out, you don't have to pay nobody.
Yeah.
It's just going to take you a little bit longer and a little bit more elbow grease, but you can get it done.
Yeah.
I wasn't exposed to it then. Let's just not say it wasn't there. I wasn't exposed to it.
Right.
Like I am now. So, but you were saying about the unemployable, I think.
Yeah. I mean, like at the end of the day, I don't even remember what point I was making now because you got me fired up. But yeah, I mean, just like for me, I'm unemployable and you are at this point as well. But there's so many opportunities out there like the Frito-Lay guy where you can go work for you or me and there's so much opportunity available to you. You don't have to be the guy who is constantly innovating the next new idea in business and marketing. And because like what we have to learn as entrepreneurs is a lot of different skills to make the business successful. I got to learn P&Ls, investing, social media, leadership. There's a lot of skills I got to learn.
Yeah.
And then there's, my employees who don't have to learn those skills. They got to learn just the one skill that they're in charge of. And if they do that skill really well, they can have a great life. There's lots of opportunities.
Yeah, not 100%. And that's the key. That's just what I look at is that even with my business partners and people who work for me, we've created different revenue streams.
Yeah.
So my HR guy came in, helped build the business up. And I tell people all the time, I don't hire based off of pay. I hire based off of commitment to the organization. And I don't pay off of the scale of this is what you should be paying for this job position.
Right.
No, you're committed to the company. I can pay you less, but I also can build opportunities for us to make money together.
Yeah.
So now we do events. We do our boot camps together. He does, offering a la carte services to where he goes out and generates more income.
Yeah.
And it's, based off of our partnership, and my brand helps elevate that tremendously.
Yeah.
I bring opportunities to him. So these are things that he came in, it may be looked at as like, oh, he was an employee, but no, he's his own business. Like he operates his own business. He has other opportunities. And that's a great thing that I look at. And I tell a lot of people that build brands, like once you build a brand, it's so many ways for other people to monetize with you, with your brand.
Yeah.
If you can strategically create it, it will help you save on your bottom line and generate more income together.
Yeah. And if they're happier, they're going to be even better for your company.
1,000%.
And so we have a program called Wealthy Business. And one thing we talk about is the financial paycheck and the emotional paycheck. So people are always going to have a combination of both when you hire them, right? So it's like, to your point, they'll take less financially if the emotional paycheck is really high. The culture's good. They're appreciated. They're respected. They know there's opportunity for growth. There's more opportunities. And so I've had many people, to your point, who come work for me for less than another job because the emotional paycheck is far higher than the financial. But If you neglect the emotional side and you make it purely a transaction, you're going to end up having to pay financially a lot. And that's basically what they call the golden handcuffs in corporate. It's like you have to just keep paying them more to keep them because they're unsatisfied.
100%. And that's is things that you learn. That you can't be. That wasn't something I was taught. I just learned it because I started seeing the people who stayed with me.
Yeah.
Why are they still with me? It was the commitment to the overall goal. It was the commitment to what we set out to do. It was the commitment to the company and organization. It was stronger than everything else.
Mm-hmm. Well, bro, I appreciate you coming by, man, and your story's inspiring. You're helping a ton of people. I'm excited to see you grow. I'm gonna have to jump on some of the jet services as well.
Let's do it.
But guys, go give Marcus a follow on IG, him 500. And where else can they find you? Where can they find out about Recession Proof?
Him 500 on YouTube, him.500 on TikTok. They beat me to the punch. So, him 500 on all social media platforms.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, make sure you subscribe. Go check it out. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
A lot of people, they see Graham and they're like, oh my gosh, this is my idol. This is the man, so they don't want to check him.
Yeah.
They don't want to say, Graham, I think that your opinion here is wrong. And we totally have different perspectives on life.
Some things like you're like, dude,